Yeah. Yeah, you should get that for her.
I want to buy that for her, John Paul, but it's expensive. But I have an idea. I have an idea for this.
Oh.
If you give me a nice big raise,
Uh-huh.
I can afford that for her for Christmas.
You know, since it's for your wife, sure. Why not?
You serious?
You fell for it again. That's twice. Everybody listening, keep count. That's twice he's fallen for that joke.
Start the show, John Paul.
All right. Welcome to the Old Titans. This is John Paul, your host.
And the executive producer, co-creator, writer, editor, and very underpaid, the one and only B-Man.
And I'm just host.
And you're just host.
Just host.
You're just John Paul.
All right, just John Paul.
I do all the work.
All the work.
All the work.
Okay, all the work, man. Take it.
What?
Okay, that's what I thought. See, the minute it was handed to you, it was what?
No, I'm giving you your moment to shine. I do all the backstage stuff.
Yeah, okay. I do think we do need to turn to you for our first part, though.
What's that?
The B-Man question of the week.
Oh, yeah. Now, I can't remember how it was worded exactly, but long story short is superheroes have that big grand opening usually, if it's done right.
Like the character coming on screen.
Yeah,
type
the first
thing.
time you see the superhero.
Okay.
What is the coolest, the best moment superhero entrance ever? All
Best
these
one
movies.
where character comes on screen. For clarification, the first time the character comes on the screen in any way, shape, or form, or the first time they kind of burst onto the scene in costume.
First time the costume burst on the scene.
That whole
this
thing.
is the superhero, yes.
Okay. I think it has to come down really to two of them,
Okay.
probably. I think the runner-up is Wonder Woman when she throws off the cloak and climbs the ladder up into no man's land. Because that's the first time you see her in the full Wonder Woman costume and outfit. Up until that point, you've seen her in bits and pieces and covered and everything, but that's her kind of big moment. And as she climbs that ladder and walks across no man's land, that was a good emotional scene.
That's up there for me, yeah.
That's number two, though, I think. I think
Okay.
number one still has to go to Christopher Reeve when he flies up into the air and catches Lois and John Williams' music kicks in, then catches the helicopter and the music really kicks in. I still get a lump in my throat and just, you want to stand up and cheer every time he does that.
You know what, John Paul? You and I are on the same page with this one.
For both two and one, or just one?
Just one.
Okay.
Actually, Wonder Woman was up there for me as well, but
Okay.
the Christopher Reeve moment was such iconic because, again, even watching it, 40 years later now? When that movie came out almost 40 years ago?
Yeah. 40 years.
I still get fired up because the music, the scene, him catching her. Christopher Reeve was a very iconic Superman to me.
Yeah,
He looked the part. He looked like Superman.
Oh, yeah.
In the comics.
absolutely.
And he was amazing at that role. That was such an amazing thing to me that is my cake. Runner-up for me, Nightcrawler in X-Men 2. Even though it's not really technically not the costume, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the whole thing when he's walking in there and excuse me, sir, and he hit the bamf and that kind of stuff.
Bam,
and then
bam, bam. Yeah.
he just takes everybody out. That one scene was amazing.
was.
He wasn't superhero, he was brainwashed at the time.
Yeah, but that was a
So well done.
cool introduction to the character.
So, yeah, those are my top two. Superman, I do agree with you, is the best.
Yeah. And I know everybody always tries to do that. Every single one of the superhero movies, they try to have that moment where the music kicks in and the character first walks on the screen in costume and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the first time you see Tony Stark in the Iron Man costume, in the cave, he's still being held hostage and he's getting into it. You know it's coming. And then, boom, and he bursts out. It's really cool. But not as iconic because it's not the final version of the costume.
I kind of thought the Nolan Batman one was pretty cool, too, as well. When, he takes every... I believe it was through the drug deal, wasn't it? When they got somebody going out there and, where are you? Here. You see his head pop up there, and then
you
the
see
homeless
the head.
guy, and then you see the shape of him.
Yeah, because as Batman, he was so hidden. I think actually Tim Burton did the introduction part. Don't get me wrong, Nolan movie's a whole lot better, but the Tim Burton one, where the two guys are on the roof, scared, what about the bat, man? What about the bat? And then Batman comes swooping in. Visually, that was a cooler just moment. But as we said before, it doesn't hold up. The movie, that moment. I mean, if you just take a snapshot of that moment.
I have a lot of problems with those movies this day. He can't even turn his body. Come on, man.
Yeah. It was, and even the Nolan movies made fun of that for the second movie. Oh, you want to turn your head?
Yeah.
So they all had to get there. There's probably some other ones. There's been so many superhero movies. I mean, Thor didn't really have a moment like that.
No.
Captain America, in costume, they really made fun of it more in costume. So he didn't have that iconic moment of becoming Captain America like that.
I will say, actually, I'm not a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man fan,
Mm-hmm.
but even though it wasn't really his first appearance, it kind of was in a way, when he chased the burglar,
Yeah.
the guy who killed Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
He climbed up there, he put the thing on, he spins the web, it catches, and he delays for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, like, I'm not going to do this, and then the car goes past him, and he's like, it focuses right around him, and he chases after him, and you can see him swinging in the background.
Yeah.
That was a really cool moment
Yeah.
as well.
They all have really cool moments. I was trying to think if there's another one. The original Daredevil, I think the first time you saw him in costume with Ben Affleck, I think he was up in the rafters in the bar, wasn't he?
Yeah, I kind of blanked that movie out.
Yeah, I mean, parts of it were actually pretty good. It's just the parts that were bad were...
The Green Lantern one was bad. When he first exposes himself to...
Yeah, Green Lantern one was not good. Part of that was the costume.
Yeah.
Part of it was the trying to do the Ryan Reynolds comedy, but part of it was just the costume.
But anyways, yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that was it.
We're rambling.
Yes. So news.
Into the news.
Oh, no, I don't do that right now.
Okay, gotta do it. All right. First item, gotta go there, gotta say it. Justice League, dollar-wise, is definitely underperforming. It's going to end up making worldwide probably $600 million,
Man.
which is not a bad number. I mean, $600 million, I know, I'd like to have it.
Yeah.
You'd probably like to have it.
Mm-hmm.
The movie cost, I want to say, somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 million to make.
Okay.
250 maybe it was 250. But then you got marketing, distribution, all those kind of costs. And I believe I saw one article that broke it down that even if it ends up making between 500 and 600 million, it has the potential of losing 50 million or more total. But it kind of depends on, there's guesstimates. Some of this, because Warner Brothers doesn't publish every dollar amount, so they had to guesstimate how much was being spent on marketing versus how much it would end up making. So if it makes closer to 600 and the marketing was slightly less on the lower end of the guesstimate, then it could end up making a couple of
But I
dollars.
got to ask this question on that. This always confused me. The toy sales count.
No, none of that counts
And
for toy
people
sales.
don't take that into consideration
Right.
because how many kids, oh my God, Superman's on screen.
Oh,
And
yeah.
run out to this local child or whatever, Toys R Us, and buy a Superman toy.
That and the apparel. I mean, the shirts and
The
stuff.
apparel count. Even people like that do like the movie, how do you go to the comic shop, buy the comic?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, for that matter, Superman and Batman T-shirts, forget about these movies. For years, Superman and Batman T-shirts have probably sold more than all of DC's or Marvel's comics combined, if you look at how much money they make on that stuff, because it's such a huge
And
licensing deal.
The way people need to put this in perspective is Free Comic Day, when that first hit, Avengers 1 came out. And we have a mutual
Yeah.
friend who owns Coliseum Comics here in
Yep.
Florida. Great guy.
Great shop.
Great shop as
Go
well.
there.
We went there. I was at Passion Square Mall all the time. I think it's actually still there.
Yeah.
Anyways, we went there, and long story short I went to the Avengers, and it was literally packed in that store. You couldn't walk in there.
Oh, yeah.
I literally walked away to the guy, said, "Hey, man," and I had to walk out.
Yeah.
It was so crowded. People don't take into consideration when they see these movies that it's doing so much for the comic industry.
Oh, yeah.
That when you see Superman, when you see Batman, even the fact that I had to stop buying comics just for it costs a lot of money and I have family
Oh,
now.
yeah, they've gone up so much.
I miss reading Batman. Batman especially. I know I'm a Marvel guy. Batman's still my favorite. When I see him on screen, I'm like, I want to go see what's out there. And then I look at the thing, oh, I'll buy this and I'll buy this. And
It becomes
I
too
love
much.
it. I love
yeah.
that. I stop. I don't buy anything, but I'm like, people do that. So even when it makes losing money there, Warner Brothers does make up in other areas as
Oh,
well.
yeah. Absolutely. And even if it's not Warner Brothers, the whole industry as a whole
Right.
does well. That's why for every one of these movies, even Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy, one of which I didn't see and don't care to see, and one of which I saw and didn't like,
I love both of them. Okay.
and that's fine. I want them all to do incredible numbers. I want every single comic book movie that's worth doing to do well.
All right, so let me ask you this question then about Justice League.
Okay.
It is underwhelming.
Yeah.
Now, I actually, I've been pretty hard on the DC movie as well. I don't love this movie. I don't think it's great, but I do think it's decent. I do think it's definitely worth watching for a comic fan. And that's something I won't say for Suicide Squad or for Batman v Superman. I will say for Justice League. Do you think oversaturation with all these comic characters right now is a problem? when you see these numbers?
I don't think it is, because we talk about it so much, it seems like it's oversaturated. But when you look at how much comes out in a year, like this year, we've had Logan, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Thor, and Justice League.
Right.
Five movies.
Those are the movies. Keep in mind the TV shows as well.
Well, there's TV. You're right. There's TV shows.
Netflix has a bunch of them.
But of the movies, 5 movies out of, at the end of the year, 52 weeks. So 10% of the year had.
No. It's not 10% of the year, though. That's what you're looking at different things.
I'm talking in the theater, though. In the
Okay.
theater, 10% of the weeks of the year had a major superhero release.
And that's why I disagree with you. I'm just agreeing at that point.
Yeah.
These movies stay in the movie theaters for months.
They do.
Guardians of the Galaxy is in the movie theater for 2-3 months.
Yeah. Wonder Woman is probably still in some dollar cinemas at this point.
Be. So really, it's really not 10% of the year. It's almost the entire year now of comic movies in the theaters. It might be like 12 showings a day that they have right now, but they still have 1 or 2 showings.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid there's so much.
Possibly for the general audience that just wants to go to see a cool sci-fi, fantasy, action, whatever type of movie. If you ask that group, they might say, yeah, give me a bigger variety. But they still keep going. As long as it's good. I think that's the key. As long as it's good and...
So what is the problem right now with Justice League? Because it is underperforming. We can't...
Justice League is suffering, I think, mainly from the the self-fulfilling prophecy of Zack Snyder was very controversial when he's announced. This is his 3rd movie for the Superman main DC stuff. I mean, there was Watchmen or whatever before, but for the main one, he was very controversial from the beginning. Very underperforming on Batman vs Superman. A lot of anti-Zack Snyder film. Within the geek. The part that's controlling the story, the media side of things, a lot of anti-Zack Snyder stuff. So you had that. You had, like I said, a lot of movies from Marvel as well. And with Marvel, you got Marvel, Fox, and Sony all putting out lots of them. So you got a lot of movies, but those have not had. In the recent period of time, from Iron Man forward, they've not had a dud that started the conversation towards, oh, this is bad. They've had
Fantastic Four.
You're right, Fantastic Four. But because it was Fox, it was seen as an outlier.
Okay.
It was seen as an outlier, but you're right. That was how bad it was. I completely forgot about it. But for the most part, except for that, everybody's kind of enjoyed them along the way, and especially the main Marvel ones. So the expectation going in, when you hear a Marvel movie's coming, you immediately think, that's going to be good, I'm going to enjoy it. Right now, if you hear there's a DC movie coming, because there's been so much negative press about it, and people who don't like Zack Snyder's style, the immediate thought is, oh, here we go with another one, or I'm not going to like that. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling thing that people don't go and don't show up. They need to get rid of, well, of course, Zack Snyder's gone from it. They need to not bring him back, and they just need to keep putting out good stories. Do like Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot did for Wonder Woman. Just put out a good movie, put out a good story, and do 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them in a row. And people will forget. I mean, the first Batman movie, Batman Begins, from Christopher Nolan. Fantastic. It did not do all that great at the theater. In fact, Justice League, I think, is outperforming it.
Yeah, but keep in mind, that followed 2 very, very bad Batman movies.
And Justice League followed what the general public perceives as bad Suicide Squad and Batman vs. Superman.
No, Justice League followed Wonder Woman, which is really well
received. It was, but they were so close. And this one, people visually looked at it and saw it as Batman vs. Superman follow-up. But I'm just saying that Batman Begins, they did a good story, right, and people enjoyed it. It didn't underperform based on their expectations. Expectations were low. It actually exceeded expectations. Right. So even though the dollars were similar, the entire story around it was, look how great this is, look how well it's doing, when another one that's doing just as well, if not better, look how bad it's doing because the expectations are different. But they didn't change. They just made another good movie after it.
Expectations, because in the comic industry right now, comic movies are doing really well.
Yeah.
These movies haven't been good. I mean, now I'm going to word this differently. Yeah. I should not just say it right there. They're about... Wonder Woman's the only great one. And even Wonder Woman, compared to the Marvel movies, I'm sorry, isn't a top tier class of Marvel movies. Close to it.
I would disagree on that one, but okay.
Right, you can.
Okay.
But it's near the top tier class, but it's not up there. Anything below that has, I mean, Justice League is the second best out of the DC movies. Do you agree with me there?
I'm going through it mentally. Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Probably is.
That's what I think it is too. Justice League is not near the halfway mark of the Marvel movies. Sorry, man. I mean, that's just
It also depends on the movie. And again, personal preferences.
out of all the Marvel movies, it's not,
Guardians of the Galaxy, I consider it far superior to Guardians of the Galaxy because I really, really, really didn't enjoy it. Not because it wasn't made well, not because the actors did a bad job.
But the overall fan base is.
Yeah, I get
would
it.
probably
But
give me.
that's what I'm saying. I think it becomes a personal preference there. And, I think the more people that see it, most people who see Justice League are actually enjoying it. Whether they're enjoying it that was good enough. I didn't feel like I wasted my money, which seems to be about where you are.
What I would say is, no,
or more.
if I suggested, I would say wait to cable and watch it. That's my suggestion. I wouldn't pay to see it again. I wouldn't pay to get it on DVD either.
But you didn't feel like running to the box office and saying, give me my money back, like
No.
Highlander 2 or things like that.
When I mentioned Highlander 2, I wouldn't talk about that movie at all.
That was the first movie I ever wanted to run back to the box office and say, give me my money back. That was horrible.
That was bad.
It was bad. It was bad. But anyway, sorry.
Actually, my first one was Battlefield Earth with John Travolta.
I knew not to go see that one.
I thought that was going to be great, and I was sadly very mistaken. DC, it can still work for them. Problems right now is I think Affleck's done. I think he really is done.
Probably.
I think he's going to do the Batman movie, and that's it. I don't think he wants to do that either.
I don't know. I don't think he'll do it. I mean,
Really?
At this point, but based on the way he's doing interviews throughout the month of November, I don't think he'll do the Batman movie.
No kidding.
I think the only places you're going to see him potentially is Flashpoint, because the Flash movie, Flashpoint, will come out before the Batman movie. And if he's, for some weird reason, has a cameo in Aquaman, but I can't see where that would work.
I'm kind of wondering then if you do the Flashpoint movie, have a different Batman, like because power, then just recast that and somehow change the universe with that Batman.
Well, and that's where you've mentioned reboots and all around DC before.
Right.
I don't know that they'll reboot. I don't know that they need to. Treat it just like you'd treat James Bond and just recast and move on. Who cares? Every time a comic book changes artist, the character looks a little bit different. Nobody cares. They know it's a different artist.
Right.
You know it's the same character.
Right.
We're smart enough to get
And
that.
I agree with you there. I think casting the older Batman. I mean, the Dark Knight story, the Frank Miller one's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
The original, anyways. I never actually read the third one.
But it'd be a good way though of they're not going to be able to do the Flashpoint story exactly the way it was in the comics.
You
They
can't.
can't do
That's
it.
too much.
But the basics are Flash changes time to save his mom. The world is different. He realizes it's not better. There's horrible things happening. Has to change it back.
You can't.
Change it. Well, he eventually does change it back, but in doing so, things don't get reset exactly the way they were. There are differences.
Right.
That's where they use that to do the whole New 52. A lot of differences. They don't have to do it that drastic for the movies, but they need to have 2 or 3 key items that the audience picks up on to go, aha, that is different. A big one would be, have Batman run, or not Batman, Flash run to Batman to say, hey, I need your help. You're the best detective in the world. You see Batman stand at the computer, or the big Bat computer or whatever, pulls the cowl down and turns and is like, I'm here to help. And it's a different actor. That would be a key thing that a general audience would pick up on, that things are different. I don't think you have to have him throughout the whole thing, because in the main thing, it's actually Thomas Wayne, Bruce's
Right.
dad, which has got to be Negan.
I hope it is.
Yeah.
I hope it is. Well, that's that. So let's go on.
Other movie news. As long as we're talking Justice League, we should probably talk about its Marvel equivalent. Not quite as good as the Justice League in the formation of their team and their historical
you are
significance.
100% wrong in that one, but good.
Well, historically, you're right.
Historical.
There's that.
As far as the team goes, you're 100% wrong.
Yeah, but Avengers.
Yes.
So the next one of those is coming. This is number 3, right?
Yep.
That's number 2. I'm trying to forget.
Age
mostly.
of Ultron. It was better than Justice League.
No.
Yes,
no,
it
no,
was.
no.
Yes, it absolutely was.
I just not a big fan of
Absolutely better than
Age of Ultron, except for the really creepy. There are no strings on me. That's kind of a little creepy. And that was kind of a cool scene.
This is where your bias shows so much.
I like that scene though. I'm not making
the
fun of that
movie
one. I
was
like
better
that.
than Justice League.
They did one thing wrong though. They should have had Steve Rogers be able to pick up the hammer.
They should have.
They should have.
Well, there's another one coming out now.
Yeah. So Number 3 is coming out, and the trailer for it just hit. And this one is Infinity what? There's so many infinities. Which one is this one?
Infinity War, I believe.
Infinity War. Okay. I don't know if...
I could be wrong on that, too.
But in the comics, there was Infinity...
There's Infinity
this, that,
Gauntlet,
and the other
and then I
thing.
think Infinity War was the second one. I can't even... Jeez, I could be wrong with the name of the title now. It's
All right.
Infinity, put it that
It's
way. It's about the
Infinity.
Infinity Stones.
It's about the Infinity Stones. The trailer dropped this morning. We both watched the trailer.
Yes.
What did you think?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's what I wanted it to be. It was fun. Shows a lot of characters again. Saw Vision a little bit. Captain America. You didn't really see too much. It was really a trailer showing you, okay, these characters coming back, essentially.
It gave you some glimpses, so
Yeah.
you know that it's a lot of people, and they made sure to give you a glimpse at 2 or 3 kind of surprises, or, oh, are they going to be in there? Please be in there. Please be in there. They gave you glimpses that they are, like Spider-Man.
Yes.
He's definitely there. The Guardians of the Galaxy, they're there.
Loki's back.
Loki is definitely in there. So some of the fan favorites, they made sure to show you, 3 seconds of each?
Yeah, again,
Something like
it
that.
really didn't show much, but I think Avengers are at the point right now kind of where Star Wars is, where we just going to show you we're out there and come in soon.
Yeah,
You're going to see it regardless,
yeah.
and we're good.
Now, things that stood out to me as kind of odd.
Okay, go for it.
This is picky. This is very minor.
Of course it's biggie, because it's Marvel, John Paul.
I've picked on this same thing with DC.
Okay.
In an even bigger way, when we were talking like Jimmy Olsen and Supergirl and stuff, when they
Yeah.
changed. Black Widow is a blonde. It's minor. I feel bad even pointing stuff like that out, but
She's probably incognito or something. She's
that's what I'm
undercover
hoping
agent.
is part of the story.
That's my guess.
And it's not one of these things where to get her to come back and agree to do it, she didn't want to dye her hair again. And
I
she's not
highly
big
doubt
enough that
that.
she got away with saying that or something.
I highly doubt that. She loves the character.
I know, but it's one of those, I'm hoping it's,
And worst case, they
Real
could
weird.
CGI the color, I'm sure. Doesn't
they
make a difference.
could. But that stood out to me as really odd. Spider-Man's costume, when you see it, is definitely very Tony Stark, Iron Man looking. I mean, it's form-fitting, not like an Iron Man armor, but it's
Right.
form-fitting armor style. It almost looked like Jim Lee designing a New 52 DC character costume. It looked like it had the interlocking plates all over like Superman's costume did. I never liked that when Jim Lee did the DC costumes, and that's kind of what it looks like.
It looks a lot better than the Flash costume does.
It does look better than the Flash costume.
Oh, back to Justice League for a second. This is popped in my head. Does it bother you that Aquaman didn't use a trident?
That he didn't use a trident?
Yeah.
He did use a trident all
No,
through the
he
movie.
did not. No, it had 5 prongs. Trident is
Oh,
trace.
okay.
I mean, is Poseidon's weapon correct? Am I wrong here?
Well, it depends on which one he has. I don't know which one he has. Because
Okay.
that could actually be a part of the main story.
Let's go back to let's go back to the map with this.
But as a final thing, finding the trident could be a main plot point for the Aquaman movie.
I
for
thought
all
I
we
had
know.
you there for a second, but I
I
knew
don't-
you
I didn't even count.
You go into defensive mode right there,
I
so
didn't even count.
we're good. We're good.
'Cause all I could think is he was using a
He-
thing, whatever you want to call it, a pitchfork the whole time.
Okay, Avengers trailer. So yes,
Yeah. And then something, this is not a complaint, this is one that I couldn't put my finger on what it was. Thanos looked odd the entire time. He just didn't look right.
he did not wearing his headpiece. That's why.
And that's got to be what it is. I couldn't
He
figure
looks
it
very
out.
similar to the comic character.
Oh, no,
to
he
me.
looked good on screen,
Right.
but I couldn't put my finger on what is wrong. And
Well, usually in the comics drawing, especially the covers, he always has a headpiece on. I can't like whatever it is.
does he take it off a lot in the comics?
The only time I remember taking him off was actually after Infinity Gauntlet was over,
Okay.
when they pretty much tried to find him and he was done. He caught it quits essentially for a while,
Yeah.
and that's what he looked like.
All right.
Other than that, he's just almost always wearing it.
Now, Thanos' goal, if I'm not mistaken, first is to get all the stones
Right.
for the gauntlet,
And the stones give you pretty much essential power.
but he's trying to do that to, like, win favor with death or
Yes,
something. He's
he
in love
is
with
in
death.
love with death.
Okay.
Death is kind of a real character, you know. There's really weird settings.
In Marvel and DC. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Like the cosmic entities actually. I
Yeah.
don't want to get too confusing.
But that's, I wonder if they're going to go there, or if they're just going to have him wanting to get power, because that would be a whole lot to try to fit in and make the general audience understand the whole death.
Well,
thing.
no, because they actually, at the end of the first Avengers one, they said to court death itself, and Thanos kind of turned and smiled.
Yeah,
So I do think this is about that,
it could be, or they might just throw phrases like that in there,
just to make
So
guys
that-
like me happy.
right? So the comic geek
Yeah.
knows, but the general audience doesn't have to get confused.
Yeah,
that happens
you
a
could
lot.
be right. You could be right.
But I mean, I don't know. That's one of those things I could see changing if I was even doing it, trying to simplify the story a little bit.
Well, they might.
The other complaint, though, this is the other complaint. It's kind of like every time you have one of these superhero movies, and this is Marvel and DC both have done this, Sony, X-Men, everybody. The actors or their agents, except for Carl Urban with Judge Dredd, always have to show their face. They take off the mask all the time and have to show their face.
I hate that as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
the Vision. You got to see. I'm blanking on the actor's name who plays Vision.
I can't think of his name right now.
Paul Bettany. Paul
Yes.
Bettany is it? You see Paul Bettany as Paul Bettany in one scene, like standing in a window with drapes around him and hugging Scarlet Witch or whatever. But he's human.
He goes human for a little bit in the comics.
But I can almost guarantee you the reason they did that is Paul Bettany's agent said, no, we have to be able to show his face at least once. That's so they can get him more movies later on because people then connect to him as an actor, not behind a mask. It bothers me every time they do that.
No, I hate that as well.
As much as like Tobey Maguire better Spider-Man,
all the time.
You couldn't go 3 seconds with him as Spider-Man before he took off the mask every time. I mean, just constantly. So that just bothers me in any superhero movie. At least Superman doesn't have to worry.
I'm with you.
Yeah, okay, so those were the complaints, but it looked really cool. I don't have anything to say other than it looked cool. And it looked like it could be a Marvel movie.
There's not much to say about it right now because again, it was 2 minutes and a half, 20 minutes long, something like that.
It's a really, really long teaser trailer. It's because they have so much to tease.
But again, it was just showing other characters. That's all it really was. Loki's back in this one.
Yep.
I honestly think Marvel has realized that Loki's the popular character in the Thor movie.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to know, is it time to shelf Thor and make a Loki solo movie?
They might, because Chris Hemsworth is probably done by the time you get to Avengers 4.
Yeah.
Because I think they're all still signed on for Avengers 4. After Avengers 4...
This movie I do back-to-back, right? Because it's like a two-part movie, I believe.
Originally it was a 2-part movie, kind of like Justice League was, and there was so much anti-2-part movie thing that came after Harry Potter and Hunger Games and all that kind of stuff. Both movie companies said, oh, no, we're making standalone movies. I think it is a 2-parter, but they're no longer saying it's a 2-parter. But either way, I think after part 4, all the main actors are kind of done.
Right.
Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Robert Downey Jr. At least those 3 are probably done.
See, I question that. Because I think Downey Jr. is going like $100 million per movie, which is insane.
They can always be lured back, but also at some point, when is it enough? Like right now, if I was sitting here with $1 billion in the bank, and somebody walked up and said, "Hey, I'll pay you, $50 million to do this thing that you really don't want to ever do again." Yeah,
that's where
it's a lot of money, but if I really don't want to do that, why do I?
That's my fanboy coming out for me is the fact that I'm set for life. I'll play this character the rest of my life.
Oh, that's different. No, if I was playing a character I love doing, but if I was mentally at the point where I'm tired, I just either physically can't do it, I feel I'm too old, I don't enjoy doing this anymore.
And that's actually why I always wanted to go into the casting part. As a director, as a producer, I should say, actually. It's really their job. Because my job as executive producer is make sure you're in check here.
Okay.
When I interview people, I want to make sure, number one, you're in this for life. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure I get a fan of the comic first.
Yeah.
And it bothers, especially Fantastic Four, one of the reasons I think it failed is they know nothing about the comics at all.
And didn't want to.
They didn't want to know anything about the comics.
Yep.
That always bothered me about that movie. Make sure you're in this, for a very long period of time, and we're good. And again, like I said, the face part. No, Spider-Man wears his mask. Now everybody should see. I'm sorry, that train scene Spider-Man was the stupidest thing to me.
Oh,
you mean to tell me nobody took a picture of him and sold that to the Daily Bugle for $2 million?
Yeah.
I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do that.
I get it.
So yeah. Anyways, moving on. TV.
Well, actually, before that, I remembered one other thing that's movie related. There was all I can say is what the headline was because I don't really know nothing about it. But supposedly the potential for Disney to buy Fox is back on the table.
That's true. I heard about that. Yes.
Don't know if it'll happen. Don't know, when or if it'll happen. But it was there and then it went away and now it's back again.
If anybody has the money, it's Disney.
Well, they got the money. It's just whether or not they can come up with the agreement.
I actually would like if they even if they just, you know what, we'll make the movies again. Give us like Sony's doing with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors they're taking that back.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what
I hope they don't. It's good right now. Leave it the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Spider-Man should be part of the Marvel universe. Yes.
All right, so TV.
Yes.
The last two nights have seen a huge event that has actually gotten much, much, much better press than Justice League, and it's Crisis on Earth X on the
All right,
on the CW
now I'm really
shows.
behind these, and
Okay.
so at this point, go ahead. Spoilers coming up. You can ruin it for me.
Okay.
Brief synopsis. What's going on?
Okay. Well, I can't spoil everything because I've only seen the first 3 parts.
Okay.
I'm watching part 4 tonight, even though it all finished last night just due to
That's fine.
family stuff. I only seen the first 3 parts, so the first 75%. It is okay. So the story is in the comics. DC has the multiple Earths thing, and for years it was infinite number of Earths. They randomly made up numbers and letters and anything else. And at some point, late 60s, early 70s, they created Earth X. DC's also been known to buy lots of different companies as they're going out of business, and they find themselves with, a stable of characters they don't know what to do with. They try to figure out how to blend them in, and there was a group of characters called the Freedom Fighters. They were on an Earth where the Nazis had won World War II, and not only won World War II, but expanded their empire to include the entire Earth. So Nazis rule the Earth in our present time. They've been around now for, what is it, 80 years or whatever it is. There's a small group of freedom fighters called the Freedom Fighters. They had a short-lived book. It lasted about a year in the 70s. That is led by Uncle Sam. You got the Ray and several others in there that they're the only heroes that are still fighting against the Nazis. And they did a story, Crisis on Earth X, in Justice League, because every summer you had a big JSA, JLA crossover, and every year is Crisis on fill in the blank, Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth X, Earth whatever, on 3 Earths, and so on. Crisis on Earth X was the heroes from JSA and JLA fighting their bad versions from Earth X. Except at that point, they didn't really have counterparts. You didn't have, like, Earth 3 always had the counterparts, Ultraman to Superman and Owlman to Batman. You didn't have that. You just had Nazis and such ruling the whole world. Throughout the 80s and into the 90s, they finally started doing the counterparts and came up with the evil Nazi versions of the main characters. So that's the concept they went with for this. So you've got the kickoff of the story is Barry and Iris's wedding. Everybody's getting together. It's a reason for all these characters from all these different shows to be getting together. No, forced thing. The wedding's been coming for a while. Everybody's getting together for the happy nuptials and so on. And Nazis attack. Of course, you can't have a superhero wedding without...
Yeah, Nazis ruin everything. They really do.
They really do. Nazis are just the worst. And it's the one villain everybody can still hate and not be politically incorrect.
It's true.
Unless maybe you're the president right now or something. I don't know.
Okay, don't get all... Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know. But other than that, everybody, is good with that. So you have a world with an evil Nazi Supergirl, an evil Nazi Green Arrow, an evil Nazi, it's Reverse Flash instead of Flash, but you got evil Nazi versions of those fighting their Earth 1 or Supergirl's Earth counterparts.
Same actors doing both roles?
Same actors doing both roles, with a couple of exceptions in places where they wanted to do kind of neat little twists. Because you got a large stable of characters, so up beyond the main 3, you've got a whole lot of other ones. So it's kind of neat seeing a return of an actor here or there that you weren't expecting. I won't spoil that. It's kind of neat seeing, hey, look, it's such and such, and then you never see him again. But you get a neat moment.
Please be Felicity. She's going away forever.
You do see a Earth X version of Felicity. However, for anybody who pays attention or remembers, she's Jewish. Is that a good thing to be?
No, the Nazis are on.
Right. So you see her in a really bad situation on Earth X, the Nazi version, or not. She's not Nazi, but in the Nazi-controlled world of Earth X, you see that Felicity, which is a pivotal moment in the story. Anyway, something they did different this year in this crossover than the previous ones. They didn't do a crossover. This time they did a movie. It's a 4-hour, well, take away commercials, it's 3-hour plus one big movie. And it feels like it. You do not feel like you're watching Supergirl's show and then Barry's show, Flash's show and then Green Arrow's show. You're not watching their individual shows. It is completely blended across the board. Very well balanced. Great effects. They spent a lot of money on it.
Supergirl's been part of this universe for 2 years now, right?
This is 2.5 now.
Okay.
This is the 3rd year.
Are they ever going to combine the universes where she's actually on the universe itself, or no?
I think if they didn't do it with Flashpoint, they're probably never going to do it.
It's the fact that, to me, this always, sooner or later, that's going to run out of us. Because I always do the crossover every year, which is great. I love the crossover. Mm-hmm. Sooner or later, you'd have stop kind of excuses to get her in that universe.
They had them every single summer in the comics between Justice League and Justice Society for 2 decades and never ran out of reasons.
It's changed. The audience has changed.
Yeah, but they've got enough. If they want to create original stories, they can. If they want to pull from comic stories, they've got the last 80 years worth of stories to pull from.
That's
And you know it's not going to go for more than another 3, 4, 5 years before there's such a major change up.
see with CW. I'm not sure because Supernatural is still going pretty strong,
Well, that's true.
and that's
true.
been like 30 years. I don't even know how long the show's been.
I think 12 or 13,
It's a long time.
which is that's a long time. But it's a great crossover. There's one part that they haven't resolved at the 75% mark. By end of part 3, they're not resolved. I don't know if they're going to do it in part 4, but I have to mention it because I was so excited to see her. There's a character that appears and offers Barry some water at his wedding. Like people are milling about before the wedding starts. You know, the groom is
Okay.
pacing back and forth, and everything else.
Yeah,
And there's some caterers walking around with drinks for people as they're getting ready. And the drinks are just water and things like that. And there's this short, I don't know if the actress is black or Hispanic, but dark or combination or what, but that's the visual look with her hair back into a braid that comes down over her shoulder, kind of short, who walks up to Barry and asks him if he wants some water. She has lemon and seltzer and, you know, different things, whatever. And she's very excited and she starts talking kind of fast and she's just so excited to be here. Da. Well, for anybody who knows the comics and has been reading them like I have for decades, that was Jenny, who ends up being XS, who is Barry Allen's granddaughter from the future, a member of the Legion of Superheroes, who has come back in time just to be there and watch her grandfather at his wedding.
That's exciting. That's good news.
It's one of those, kind of like we were saying, there might be comments that Thanos or somebody says in Avengers that don't mean anything to the general audience, but if you get it, it's really, really cool. For anybody who doesn't know who Jenny is, okay, here's just 30 seconds of a scene. If you do know who she is, oh, that's so cool. Unless Part 4 brings in the Legion of Superheroes to save the day, which is probably not happening because they're over on Supergirl doing their own thing, and they haven't been fully introduced yet. So
Awesome news. I'm glad the Legion is nowhere near my top list screen. I really am.
But I will say, Felicity, this is for you. Felicity is a big part of the story.
Felicity's the reason I stopped watching the shows.
I think you would like it.
No.
But Felicity, Iris,
I love Iris.
Alex, Kara's sister on Supergirl, a lot of the human supporting characters are Cisco, even though he's a superhero as well. Wynn from Supergirl, all of these supporting characters all get a major part in this, which is kind of cool. And she gets some of your. I think if you had not been watching Arrow for a while, like if you finished watching Arrow at season 2 or 3, and still had a really good opinion of Felicity, and you watch this one, you wouldn't think anything wrong. You'd look at it and go, oh, "That's Felicity." She just gets moments here or there, and she's just Felicity. There's a moment where they're crawling through some air ducts to escape bad guys, and it's her and Iris. And do you know where this is? Yeah. Lead the way, McLean. She gets a nice Die Hard reference in there and that kind of thing. But it's just cute, fun stuff.
Yeah,
So
they ruined that. I mean, once they ruined Felicity for me in Arrow, they ruined the Arrow for me because that was my favorite character the first couple of seasons.
this season's good. It's really good.
I'm sure it is.
All right, so that was one TV news, was Earth X, the Crisis on Earth X.
Right.
We had another small screen one to talk about that we haven't talked about in a while.
The Walking Dead, actually.
Yeah, what was that show about again?
This is funny because when this show first started, when you and I first podcast over a year now, we've been doing this about a year and a couple months. That was the main topic always. Yeah, and we don't really watch it anymore. I mean, we'd still watch it. It's just we're not
as excited
as
about
love
it
as we used to be.
Yeah, last year there was the Negan thing, and after the Negan thing, and it kind of drug. It really drove home just how formula it is and how we just aren't enjoying. And this year they're doing it different. This year is all action constant. And I'm only up to episode 4 now. I finished through the first 4. I still got like 2 more to go before I'm caught up. But it's been one long action sequence for 4 episodes.
Yeah.
You do need some downtime. You just don't want to have lots of action for one episode, 10 or 11 downtime, and one more action one. You want to go back and forth.
This is the first year ever since Walking Dead came out there that my wife and I, if we don't watch it that night, something big happened, we can watch it always the next day no matter what.
Yeah.
Didn't watch it on Sunday just because we don't feel like watching it. Monday came by, still don't watch it. Tuesday came by, still don't watch it. Tonight, probably won't watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe we will. Maybe tonight we probably will. It's just the fact that I'm just not in love with it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's so problematic that I don't care anymore.
Well, I mean, and they're still playing some of their games and tricks with focusing where they want to focus and not giving fans some of the stuff they want to see, or being able to mix stories well.
Right.
They don't blend stories very well when you have
Not at
multiple
all.
characters. At the end of episode 1, and again, spoilers, but hopefully by now, anybody who cares is probably watching anyway. The end of episode 1, you got Father Gabriel trapped in a trailer surrounded by zombies with Negan.
Yeah, you don't see him again until...
I think I just finished episode 4. Maybe it's episode 3, but 3 or 4. I still haven't seen them again.
He was the last episode I saw was Father Gabriel.
Okay, so I mean, it takes, 5, 6, 7 episodes before you get back to that story?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, it's because Negan's in so many... I think he does like 5 episodes a year.
Yeah, it's
Or you can force him with that.
I think they really should figure out how much screen time that is, film a bunch of it, and then edit it into other episodes and spread it out.
Yeah, I think right now is they have so many different storylines going on at once
It's too many.
that at this point it's not working anymore.
No.
And what do you think? That's the main problem with it, because the ratings are considerably down.
Yeah, they are.
Season 2, this is the worst rating since season 2. And usually by this time of the year, it picks up again. Okay, miss an
Yeah.
episode, whatever it is. They're still down.
I think there's so many good choices on TV right now, and Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and all the rest. There's so many good choices of things to watch. If you're not pushing the envelope, if you're not creating first-class stories, people have other things to do, and they watch something else.
That's the problem. The reason I watch it right now is not because I'm enjoying the show. I'm just invested in these characters.
Yeah.
And that's probably the problem right now. They talking about going 20 seasons. It's not sure they'll go on 20 seasons.
Yeah.
This show might go 2 or 3 more seasons if they're lucky. I think the Fear of the Walking Dead and any kind of crossovers it's too late now. I really do. I think they missed
that's
the
not going
moment.
to do much.
I think the Eagles came out. Seen the Eagles because they weren't listening to fans early on. They really weren't.
No.
And that's one of the problems with the show. And I think that's coming back to them right now.
So, I don't know. We'll see if they can turn it around. I don't know.
I hope they do, but I think it's
I don't know.
too late.
Well, looking at the clock on the wall, our time's about up here, but we do want to make sure to get in the B-Man question of the week for next time. I think you had something Christmassy. to
Yeah,
bring
it's
up.
holiday season, right?
Yeah,
And you have 2 kids who both your kids are adults now. I don't know why they call them kids now.
they're still my kids.
They're still kids, right? Exactly. The fanboys themselves.
Right.
What is the fanboy president of this year 2017? Like, what do fanboys want these days?
All right.
Because again, toys have changed a lot. When you and
Yeah,
I were kids,
yeah.
there's always Star Wars. I
Yeah.
want a new Han Solo toy.
Of course, there's a lot of Star Wars toys out today, but you're right.
That's true as well. Yeah.
But you're right. That's a good question. What is the go-to gift or gifts for the
Because
season?
when I was a kid, my favorite one's ever Death Star.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. All right. So
Yes.
so next time we'll answer that question.
Awesome.
So for John Paul,
B-Man.
we are out of here.